Welcome to Eagle Pride Sports. I'm your host, Quentin Atkinson here, and I have a very special guest for us today. I have new head coach Jerry Mack. Jerry Mack, we're here to discuss a little bit about yourself and where you came from, new things about you. We're glad to have you here at North Carolina Central. And just tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Thank you, Quentin. Well, originally I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Played collegiately football at Arkansas State University, which is in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Was a 3-year levelman and wide receiver. After I left there, I went on to Delta State University, where I coached the running backs and assisted with the quarterbacks and the receivers. I had a very prolific offense there at Delta State University. Actually played here NCCU in the quarterfinals of the playoffs in 2006. After I left there, I went on to Jackson State University, where I coached the wide receivers. Got a chance to win a SWAC championship while I was there at Jackson State. Left there and got a chance to be the passing game coordinator at the University of Central Arkansas for 2 years as well, and got a chance to win a Southland Conference championship. Left there and went to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where I was the full-time offensive coordinator. Called plays there at Arkansas Pine Bluff for a year. Left there and went to University of Memphis, got a chance to move up and go to the FBS level, where I coached receivers. Left University of Memphis and went to South Alabama, which is in Mobile, Alabama, for 2 years. And now I'm here at North Carolina Central trying to do some great things.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, with this being your first head coaching job, what's your coaching philosophy or your take on coaching?
My coaching philosophy has always been developing our total student athletes. You know, like I express to you young men all the time, it's life after football. And my goal is to touch some young men and hopefully put you guys on the right path to be successful in life past football, understanding that they have goals and aspirations to play in the NFL. But if some form of fashion may fall short of those goals, right, you also have a backup plan. And that's my entire goal, is to make sure that you guys not only leave here with a college degree, leave here with a championship ring, but also, too, at the same time, you have that skill set to understand how to use those tools in order to get job opportunities.
Right. Yes, sir. Now let's talk about a little bit more football. Last year we had a 5-7 record. Now, how do you look to change that or bring in new things or make things happen that we won't have that 5-7 record?
I think one thing we always got to talk about is creating more discipline within our football program. Right. And the thing we stress as a program is, is always to the little things. The devil's under details, as far as, making sure we're behind the line, going to class, making sure you do all the little things right to lead up to the big things. Everybody wants to score the 70-yard touchdown, and everybody wants to be successful, but you can't score the 70-yard touchdown if you can't get the snap.
Right.
So those little things, we're just going to try to change some small things within our program as far as how we approach throughout the week, how we approach throughout the summer workouts and things like that, to make sure that we kind of create those detail-oriented things that we need to be successful.
Now, with North Carolina Central being at HBCU, the culture here is not necessarily competing with the top-level programs or not being able to do the work against those guys. How do you look to change that culture against that?
I think it all goes back to, the details, but also, too, it's a belief. Our motto as a team is teamwork makes the dream work.
Right.
And it takes everybody to be on board to make that successful. Not only our players, but also our administration, our trainers, our people in the cafeteria. Everyone must be on board in order for us to make our hopes and dreams come true. And I think that's the culture we're trying to set. And once we all start to really believe that, and it's a process, it's going to take a little time, but I do think we're headed in the right directions. Some of the things we did in spring, some of the things we implemented throughout the course of the spring, right, I think will all help us go in the direction that we want to go. And it'll help us compete at a very, very high level.
Right.
My vision and the hope for our program is that we're not just competing for MEAC championships, but we have an opportunity to potentially compete for national championships and compete to be ranked in the top 5 and the 10 in the FCS in the country.
Right. Now, those are your expectations for this season? Be ranked top 10, top 5, those are your main expectations?
I mean, my expectations never change. I mean, we want to win the MEAC. I mean, that's one thing we want to do. We want to always try to win the MEAC championship. We want to be undefeated in O'Kelly-Riddick Stadium. We don't want anybody to come in our house and feel like they got an upper hand. We always want to be undefeated at home, and we want to win a MEAC championship. I mean, I don't make any mistake about saying that. I think our young men need high expectations, and I think we can do it. I really do. I think it's going to take an overall effort from everybody within our program, right, but I do think that we got to push for the stars.
Right. Now, recruiting-wise, what are you implementing to bring in or changes to make in the program? I know you lost a senior quarterback, new quarterbacks coming in. How do you expect to do that?
I think from a recruiting standpoint, we want to make a more emphasis on recruiting the state of North Carolina. That's the first thing we always want to do. we want to be able to hit our home area and make sure we're not only recruiting in the state, but also recruit locally and making sure the young men, in the city of Durham grow up wanting to play for North Carolina Central. That's kind of been a priority.
Right.
I've looked at the past signing classes and noticed that, it has not been as many young men from the state of North Carolina as I would like to be. So we got the ground running. We hit the ground running in that. We signed 13 young men from the state of North Carolina this past season. And, we'll continue to improve on that. Now, at the flip side of that, it also has to be a part of your model to recruit a little bit more regional.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to recruit, the South Carolina, the Virginias, the Maryland, the DCs. We dipped down and signed a young man from Georgia. And then on the third part of that, you have to have some kind of national recruiting a part of your process as well. So,
right.
We're trying to recruit transfers. You yourself being a transfer, just happen to be locally from
Right.
Raleigh. But we also have to recruit somewhat nationally as well, too, to find the best product to put on the field on Saturdays.
All right. Now, in closing, there's anything you want to thank anybody, supporters, anything you want to do like that?
Well, I do. I think our student body has done a great job of, embracing our culture a little bit. And I think as we move forward, I think our students will see that our young men that play on Saturdays, they're all about NCCU, and they're trying to do the best they can, not only in the classroom,
Right.
but also, too, just in the community and things like that. And I think as we move forward as a program, I think the more we embrace our community and more we embrace our students, and I want to commend the students for embracing us as well, because we're trying to do some positive things on and off the field.
Right. Well, Coach Mack, I thank you for your time
No problem.
and for being on this episode with us. Thank you for coming to this episode of Eagle Power Sports. I'm your host, Quentin Atkinson. I'll see you again next week.